Quick Bites podcast is back with another episode.
We've been very
cramming them in.
Unprepared. Well, we've been prepared in the sense that we've been filming a lot of them, but like when we sit down, we're like, all right, what are we talking about?
Yeah, we'll just be honest. Oh, that looks great. I've got my Master's cup with me today.
Yep.
Some water. We haven't done a podcast with Slow by Slow in it recently.
I know.
I think we need a fall harvest.
They have their fall drinks out, right?
Have you tried any yet?
One maybe. I don't know. Personally,
I'm a pumpkin spice
this
latte
is not
kind of
dissing
guy.
This is not dissing Slow by any means, but like coffee tastes all the same to me. Like when I drink a coffee drink, I'm like the black one we had, I'm like, this tastes like normal. I don't know.
Riley, you're weird. They're different coffees. That's why I don't drink Form and Function. Just tastes different to me. And then they put in those like plastic cups. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? I hate plastic cups when you're drinking coffee. You need a nice porcelain mug that keeps your coffee
I was like
hot.
the reusable ones, yeah.
Yep.
It's like made out of bamboo. It's
well,
like
we've got
great.
a lot of stuff going on today. I mean, I'm going to dive into it a little bit. We've got Binance is acquiring FTX. So from what I understand, these crypto exchanges are growing in popularity. So Sam, I can't even think of his name. The guy that owns FTX is like the youngest billionaire right now. He's like in his 20s.
Okay, for the listeners, what's FTX?
It's a crypto exchange where you hold as well as purchase cryptocurrencies. So like Coinbase, it's just like Coinbase.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or Gemini or Binance or things like that. The owner of Binance, he kind of goes by CZ. I think that's his name. He was in the running to when Buffett like did that, hey, donate money and you can go to lunch, and CZ ended up like donating like 10 mil to go to lunch with Buffett, and I don't think it ever panned out.
Dang.
Because there's no like info that came back on it. But anyways, from my understanding, there's a huge liquidity crisis in the crypto space, and what happens with crypto is similar to stock trading, to where you can purchase and buy assets on margin. So you're basically borrowing money to buy more crypto or hedge against it, short it. You know, you can buy options in crypto as well on these platforms. But what is going on is there's kind of this hole in FTX, from what I understand, that they're kind of over leveraged right now, and someone exposed them for it. And so everybody's trying to like withdraw their funds quickly, and then FTX shut off withdrawals, which means like, like something's going to happen. And to like relate this to, you know, current society is in 2008, that's kind of what happened to the banks. They got over leveraged on all their like real estate loans, and then all of a sudden Lehman Brothers goes under, and it's like the world falls.
Yeah.
So that kind of happened in the crypto space this spring. We had Celsius and Voyager get upside down, and all of, you know, I have buddies with, you know, a couple 100,000 in crypto that's locked right now, that they can't touch, they can't get out. And it's like the price of crypto is going down, and they're like, I'm losing money and I can't even sell it for USD. So anyways, like this FTX thing is the first of like the major 5 platforms that have been kind of caught in ways a little bit upside down. So the new news is, so crypto went down like 5-10% like really quick when this was exposed. And then Binance, the CEO of Binance, CZ, came out and said that they're acquiring FTX now, which is like a huge, massive, to help them out of the swing. So he wrote an LOI, which is a letter of intent to purchase. And now they have agreed to a price that they're going to acquire them, but there's still a due diligence period.
Yeah.
And this is where I think it's really fascinating that maybe he has just done that, like put the Band-Aid on what's really going on in like the FTX like marketplace, and like how many people are over leveraged, and then all of a sudden like Binance backs out of the deal, and then the whole crypto market comes crashing down.
I was gonna say like he doesn't actually want to buy it. Yeah,
he should buy it because he doesn't. So there's an issue with Binance and the SEC about being in the United States, because he's
I've always
an Asian Chinese company, I believe.
Because you always had to like
Binance US.
You had to transfer into
something else.
You know, to get it. So it was always interesting when I was dealing with that back in the day.
So that is like a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
I saw it all over.
I don't know a ton of stuff. My neighbor that's a computer science guru, like he's like blowing up my phone to dude, crypto's crashing. Oh my gosh, it's getting saved. And then I'm getting like notifications on Robinhood like ETH down 10%, ETH up 10%, ETH down 10%.
That's funny.
And yeah, so if you're invested in crypto, it's a long game in my opinion. Get a ledger. Ledger, we need you to sponsor our podcast.
Also, I feel like people like, why wouldn't people just use Coinbase? I don't know. It just seems so like a no-brainer to me.
Well,
it's such a trusted.
It's pretty trusted
platform, because it's still so new
and publicly traded company. So like all their financials are super transparent.
Yep.
I mean, I store a good chunk of my stuff on Coinbase. Yeah, if Coinbase goes bankrupt, I'm losing it, but I'm willing to take that risk because in ways that money is more liquid than what I have on my Trezor because I can click 3 buttons on my phone and have it in USD and it'll be in my bank account within 24 to 48 hours. If I have it on my ledger, it's just a little bit less liquid in ways because I got to go home, got to get it out, got to plug it in, got to transfer it to an exchange if I wanted to withdraw like a certain amount of money because through Ledger, I think you can buy USD and transfer it to your bank account. I just haven't done that yet. So in terms of liquidity, it's a little bit illiquid compared to having it on Coinbase. That's why I keep some on Coinbase and some on cold storage.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's what it all comes down to, Riley, is liquidity.
Yep.
Access to capital. It's not about cash is king. It's like, where is your cash? Like if you have $1 million in the bank, you couldn't go withdraw it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not actually access to the cash. It's access to the power of the
liquidity.
Capital.
Bingo.
You know.
Yep.
So that's interesting. And
are you still DCAing every day?
Yeah, I was gonna say I got $25 a week, ETH and Bitcoin.
Ooh, I like that.
So since we started it, it's been
keep stacking it. I think we've set a low on crypto right now, and it's going to sit in the 20 to 25K range for the next 18 to 24 months because we're going into we're in a recession.
Yeah,
and I don't think Bitcoin comes back to the high levels until we get to a point of closer to the halving.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people look at crypto as an investment from like a gain perspective, but it's like no, like you're investing in a currency that will possibly be used in the future. It's not, you're not trying to get your gains with it.
Right.
You're trying to have access to that currency. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's less of a, I'm going to invest $10 and make 100, $1,000.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're having access to that currency when it may be a mainstream currency.
True. Yeah, exactly. You're acquiring it to use it, not to like trade it back to USD in ways.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's one thing that people
and I still think that space is so young because VCon has officially been announced and I'm fired up.
We're going to Indianapolis.
Going to Indianapolis.
I have never
Indianapolis. I can't even
Let's call
say
it Indy.
Indy. We're going to Indy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been there. So
I haven't either. Thanks, Gary, for putting it to a place where we've never been.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like Minneapolis. It's like I would have never gone there.
I think it's only like 200 miles away from Minneapolis, though.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because it's like Minneapolis, Chicago, Indianapolis.
Ah.
So it's like almost, it's like in that same area. But
what do you think? Like, how do you think it's going to play out if like the crypto market's just in the shitter next spring?
Well, because that's where it was kind of when we went, though. It was like right at the
start fall off. Yeah.
Oh, shit. But I think all the speakers liked that because it gave them
more of a platform to say this is where we're going.
Yes, and talking about what their real intentions are, not just like pump and dump.
Yeah, I wonder how many projects still are alive.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. It's so crazy because there's so many different opinions on like why people are doing the projects, and it's like a lot of people think it's just to make money, but it's like, well, there's other goals and intentions with it.
So you want to know something crazy? So tickets from last year's event, like the actual physical ticket is still trading at $600
really
per ticket as an NFT, and the conference is over.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's kind of interesting. I saw that this morning. Someone tweeted that.
Yeah, so let me know when you get that airdrop.
Yeah, I know. Whenever we do, Riley can have his ticket.
That'll be sweet.
Yep.
What are we talking about next?
Well, crypto's crazy. What else we got going on?
I had a buddy ask me the other day, he's like, what advice do you have for crypto? And I was like, I'm not the one to give you crypto advice.
Crypto advice is
knowledgeable, but
tough
I'm
because
not.
like if you apply it to like, I mean, shoot, there's like tons of things you can invest in for the long term. And it's like, where do your risks lie?
Yeah.
In the simplicity of the higher risk, the potential of a higher return,
Yep.
you know, and the stock market is one thing. I mean, it always goes up eventually if you wait long enough.
Yeah.
But crypto, we don't know yet. We
Yeah,
don't have
I
hundreds
know,
of years
it's
of data yet.
So new. I wanted to talk about one thing with you. I wanted to talk about 3 separate investments. Not 3, I should just say different investments, and like what's your take on them. So I was like getting ready for bed last night and I was like, all right, car wash, storage units, laundromat, like kind of look at some of those investments and like, all right, where's your money best in? Is it cyclical based on the market cycle? Is it always like that? Is it like
All right,
defensive?
let's run through the list. What's the
Okay,
first
so
one?
I think I texted you about something. It was like maybe it was like a laundromat, and I was like,
Yep. Let's
like-
start there.
I was like, let's get it. Let's start one.
Let's start there.
then Blake was
Laundromat.
like,
I was
"Hell
like,
no."
yeah, hell no. I'm not putting my money in a laundromat. Reason being, couple things. I think that is one of those situations that is a little bit higher risk, higher return for my investment thesis.
Higher risk, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
Higher risk, higher return. So yes, laundromats can be profitable, can make good money, can be a really good like cash on cash return if you look at it from like a 5-year perspective. The things I don't like about laundromats: 1, management. You got to have someone or yourself is going to collect those damn quarters out of those machines 7 days a week for how many hours? So what is your time best spent? You know, that's where I analyze what I know about commercial real estate, what I know about the stock market in ways. It all comes down to how much time you're spending and like, what are you going to allocate per your 5 hours of work, 10 hours of work, 20 hours of work, potentially at a laundromat. You know, is your 2 hours on a Saturday night at 5 p.m. best spent collecting quarters at a laundromat or hiring someone to do it?
Yep.
I mean, I've never had massive success at finding good employees. And so I've always had a hard time like delegating. So maybe that's one of my flaws. And so where, you know, let's just say 10 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon before I go to bed, I can spend an hour like researching Twitter or like reading news articles about companies that I want to invest in the stock market. And I feel like that's a strength of mine comparatively to a laundromat, where it is a little bit of manual labor. You also have to have, I mean, you look at lease rate, like what is your expenses on that place? I mean, I'm not familiar with that. So that's a learning curve. You know, you're going to lose some money learning things like that. Are you located in a good area? You know, there's some difficulties there because from my personal experience, I've always had a washer and dryer in my house. So I've never used a laundromat. So I don't know how the consumer would use it. So you're uphill there.
That's also where, yeah.
But like, once again, it all comes down to like where you want to like time best spent, you know? And if I had the money to go invest in a laundromat, I think I would invest it in something else just because of the time allocation and the learning. Yeah, maybe I'm leaving shit on the table because maybe they are like wickedly profitable. But when you start to look at like coins and the shortage of coins and some of that like metric as well, like banks are like trying to get rid of coins completely and go to straight dollars and
Like,
things
all right,
like that. Yeah.
Buy our NFT and you can use the space whenever. You know,
I
like,
know, right? So investment thesis on laundromats, it's totally up to you. Time best spent. I think personally, I wouldn't invest in them. And those are kind of the main reasons why is the learning curve. And I don't think I've ever seen just in the Midwest or like the Northwest, a laundromat that has succeeded more than 5 to 10 years. So when you look at the data, it's kind of like these 3 or 4 year, like get in, make some money, get out.
Yeah.
And it's not more of that long-term patient where I'm like, I'm going to buy Apple stock all day, every day until I die because it always goes up.
Yeah.
Because we always buy Apple products. So that's my investment. What do you think about laundromats?
I have no
I
idea.
know I just blabbed for
I have no.
10 minutes.
I just see things, and I've seen people post about, oh, they're profitable, whatever. I've never really thought about like, I want to buy a laundromat. I'm like, I'd rather just go, I don't know, something else. But yeah, I was just curious on your opinion on that, because when I sent that to you and you said hell no, I was like,
Hell no. I wonder why.
well, yeah, what's the reasoning behind that?
That's
So
pretty good reasonings, though.
no, yeah, for sure, that makes total sense. Because it's like if you bought a cash flowing asset, you wouldn't want to like have to go pick up the cash.
Yeah,
physically.
right.
Like,
I want it sent
You
to
want-
my mailbox.
yeah, you want to check.
And,
in the
and you
mail.
could build the systems around that, but then you think of, okay,
Hire out and
if I'm going to
stuff.
hire out, I'm hiring someone at $12 an hour to go collect quarters. How many of those are they putting in their pocket?
Well, it's just your. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
It's like, what's your-
there's some shit in that too that you got to like.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
And
I
what-
hate managing people.
Yeah, no,
I hate it.
I've never heard anyone that likes it.
Yeah.
Besides Gary, but
He crushes it though.
yeah, but yeah, like, oh, what was I gonna say? I totally forgot.
Do you have washer and dryer in your apartment?
Yeah, that's why I like renting, because I don't have to buy an appliance.
Yep. There you go.
No, I don't have to go buy a fridge. Like, obviously one day I will, but that's also things people don't factor into like a house. It's like, oh, gotta furnish this. Like,
Yeah.
gotta furnish all these rooms, all
Shit.
these extra rooms we don't need. I gotta
Yep.
get a fridge and. But
that
yeah, so
stuff.
that's kind of interesting.
What was
but
the other ones? We've got a laundromat,
car wash?
car wash.
That's usually for like.
That's
laundering
another
money.
quarter thing. Our family owns a car wash in McCall, and it crushes.
Really?
It crushes.
That's funny.
But it's like perfect because my uncle, like, it's his pride and joy in ways, and they live up there in McCall, and he like loves managing the car wash. You know, because
That's
it's kind of like.
yeah, if you like it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like time best spent. I think that's what it ultimately comes down to is where you want to spend time, because we're all learning, you know,
Yeah.
and it's all a case study until it's finalized. You know, it's like, okay, you know, and I think that that's one of my biggest flaws, but greatest strengths at the same time with getting educated in commercial real estate is you look at everything on a 10-year scale, you know, like, is this thing sustainable for 10 years plus, you know? And my grandfather's thesis was buy and hold, never sells. I mean, he's sold a
Great
few
thesis.
things, but like you look at like the accumulation over 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and you're like, oh shit, like with appreciation and these crazy ups and downs, you know, like you see a portfolio like 10x in 10 years, but then settle down, you know, and then it's really only 7x. You know, don't get happy at the top kind of thing unless you
Yeah.
do sell. But then it's like, okay, accumulate.
That's one thing. The Einstein of Wall Street. I've been seeing all of his content. I like it.
Hey,
I like
it's
his
Einstein
content.
of Wall Street.
Yeah,
Back in action.
I like his stuff. But there was a guy that was like, he was like, well, I don't want to wait. I want the money now. And he was like, yeah, I get that. He was like, that's the thing, like to earn the money to invest. He's like, he was just kind of talking about that. It was one of the videos where he was outside of Wall Street.
Oh,
talking-
yes. Talking
out
to
of the
somebody.
outside of the stock exchange. But and then he was like, well, it's the psychology. So you can go make. He just blabbed out some numbers about like back in COVID with the meme stocks. He's like, you can make all that money, but when you buy GameStop at $30 and it's at 480, you're still not going to sell because you think it's going to go higher, and then it
Exactly.
crashes. So he's like, the psychology is the issue here. It's not the actual like, get the money now or wait for it later. It's like the psychology is never
behind
gonna-
certain investments. And it goes
Yeah.
back to our podcast with Elliot. Like when you get into something, whether you're buying a laundromat, stocks, crypto, whatever it is, like you've got to have a horizon and you've got to have an exit strategy. You know, like
Yep.
crypto for me, that investment vehicle is to buy and borrow. And what I mean by that is I'm buying that asset because I think it's a strong asset. When I say strong, it's going to hold its value long term. Its usability is very beneficial for society over the next 50 years, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then you borrow against it. You know,
That's the beauty of it.
that is tax free
Can't
coming
borrow
into your
against
pocket.
stocks.
You can.
Well, margin.
Yeah, you can.
But like crypto, you can like physically take that money.
So you
right?
can with Robinhood too. So that's another thing it's the
That's
only
stuff that I don't
reason
look
why I'm
into.
still with Robinhood is because literally I borrowed against my stocks and I pulled it out in cash. I could go buy an investment property.
I may be
It's
able to
liquid.
do that with mine. I just have no idea because I don't do any of that stuff yet. So
Yeah.
that's a part.
Yeah,
that
so I don't know if like Schwab or TD do that, you know, and that's
Interesting.
one of the features of Robinhood is to why I've stuck with them so long because I still have like some margin out on that account. The biggest thing I hate about that company is that they don't calculate your gain loss report on a monthly basis. So like you get to the end of the year.
How do you not
So
do
I
that?
asked them, I got super serious with them. Like, I'm going to leave the platform and go somewhere else if you guys can't provide this for me, this data. And they sent me a spreadsheet of like 16 pages and they're like, here's the data, you crunch the numbers. And I was like, you know,
How do they not do that? Because like
yeah.
for TD Ameritrade, they send me like for my taxes, I send it in like it's like
No,
it's like
you
a
can
lot of
just click
pages.
2 things and it's a report. But like
Yes.
even going into the end of the year, let's say you have this capital gain short term
Yeah.
of 100K, like you want to know that in December.
Yeah, TD gives me all
you know
that
what I mean?
info. Like I just send it to whoever does my taxes.
No, I'm saying like during the year.
Oh,
like
like a
you can
cost
go
basis?
Yep, like you
Yeah.
can go in right now and know that you're like currently sitting
Yes.
at
Yep.
this number where Robinhood doesn't do
I
that.
have a realized and an unrealized spreadsheet of the current
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, year to date and total of the whole account age.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of anyways.
Yeah, that's interesting. I always wondered why you're with Robinhood, but that makes sense.
Yeah. Pull out that cash.
Yeah.
Cold hard money. Now it originally the interest rate was only 2.5.
No, dude, mine's
So
like 11.
like that was the thing is like Schwab's and all of those I even evaluated. I was like, okay, to get out a 50K loan, it was borrowing against my stocks and Schwab was at like 8.5% and Robinhood was 2. So I was like, I can take that 50K and go make more than 2%.
At least
easy,
5%,
easy,
whatever.
you know? And so now I'm sitting a little bit, under the water, but they've moved their interest rate up with the Fed hiking rates. So now they're at like 5.25. Still,
I think
mean,
mine's like 11.
if you can go deploy that and make 7, 8, 9.
Well, because TD Ameritrade does it by account value. So
Right.
there's 3 tiers. It's like 25K or less, 100K or less, like 25 to 100K, and then it's like 100K plus is like 8%.
Yeah, you get really good
it's
rates.
higher as it's lower
Yep,
account value,
yep.
but so that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if you can like completely liquidate
I don't
like
know.
into cash, like into your bank account.
be interesting
And
to
it
find
makes
out.
it so easy from Robinhood too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that
True.
I'm still sticking around. I don't know what I'm going to do. I really
UI.
wanted to move away from it. This Christmas was my goal and pay off my margin, but I'm just like, it's like that liquidity too.
The UI is super friendly. and
great.
People understand. It's like just
For
like
a while.
anything Apple.
Well, FTX owns 5% of Robinhood. So now Binance is going to own 5% of Robinhood.
That'll be interesting.
That's super interesting.
they'll-
I'm going to tweet about that today. What happens to
one thing.
the liquidity?
One thing I want to touch on real quick. We have 5 minutes. My grandpa's still super bullish on gold.
I don't know why. Really?
Yep.
What's his thesis?
I mean, honestly, I don't know if I could tell you his thesis. I haven't had that conversation with him because
Come
I
on,
know if I
Riley.
started that conversation, it'd be like a 4-hour conversation. But yeah, he's super, and it might be his traditional investing ways and experiencing.
I will give you $500 in Bitcoin if you get him to buy $500 in Bitcoin.
I will never be able to do that.
Why?
They just don't understand it.
If he's
they,
so
as in
bullish
older
on
people-
gold, that Bitcoin's going to take over gold. Like it just
Yeah.
will.
That's crazy. I mean, obviously though, maybe not in his lifetime, so that's why he doesn't care.
True.
So
Yeah,
it's
he's just like, eh. Yeah, but it's going to get passed down.
yeah, not to me, but
Are you going to take that bet though? Like if you get him to buy $500 in Bitcoin without saying that I'm paying you that much in Bitcoin, I'll give you $500 in Bitcoin.
I don't know.
Okay.
I would propose the idea
See if
to
you
him.
can and like let's do it. Let's see
He'd probably be like, "Why? You know,
why.
then
And
I'd
you'll
be like,
say,
"Yeah,
"Well,
you're
grandpa,
right."
I think gold is outdated and Bitcoin is gold 2.0 and here's the 10 reasons why."
His argument would be physical. Okay, you can hold gold.
You can hold Bitcoin too.
Like
Yeah, just give him a ledger.
on your ledger. Yeah, that's the big thing is like it's physically not there.
So let me ask you this. So if you have gold in your hand, so
Okay.
this is your argument. So grandpa, if you have gold in your hand and it's physical, where can you take it and go get USD?
I don't know the answer to
So
that question.
so have him answer that. Say, okay, well, where can you take your gold? Like what exchange do you trade it on? Does he? So if he
You can take it to,
says
like, precious
if he
metal.
says I don't gold, I can hold it, but he owns paper gold, Like if he's buying
He has both.
shares of gold.
He has both.
Okay. So if his counter argument is, oh well, it's shares of gold in my TD
No, he has
account.
physical
Okay.
gold.
So if he's got physical gold, you got to ask him where and how quickly he could liquidate it. Let's say he's got 50 grand in gold.
Well, he showed me like one of this gold coins. He's like, you're gonna be paying rent with this one day.
Oh jeez.
And I was like, I don't believe you,
Oh,
but
jeez.
it's just that
I think your grandpa has a great thesis. He's created massive wealth in
he has
his
an
lifetime.
amazing strategy from a charting aspect.
Yes.
But there are some outdated theories that he has, which I respect because I
Yeah, and I
understand.
don't think they're outdated. I think they've worked for him. But
Well,
the
the strategies aren't outdated, but the gold, like that might be a little bit outdated.
I think you come with like some facts. Question him.
It's too far gone.
Because there's no point for him to do it.
Exactly.
Funny story. I actually got my grandfather to buy some Bitcoin, and he owns some.
Really?
So that's why I think my grandfather's been successful, is he's always been on the leading curve of technology. Like he used Excel spreadsheets before they were a thing. Like, and he's got this spreadsheet that he uses on our family's like real estate assets. And it's like 185 tabs deep, and it talks to one another, and then it even imports like QuickBooks data and shit.
That's
Like
crazy.
he's a whiz. And it's like when people were doing like note cards at storage units, he was using Excel, and that's why they were able to like expedite their growth.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, that's just that generation mostly doesn't care to innovate.
Yeah.
Their education.
Well, and it
But
works.
it's
it
also
works
been
for
such
them.
a drastic change.
Oh,
because
yeah.
of technology. It was in the middle of that.
I know, like smartphones 12 years ago. Good pod
pod.
today.
Yep, we'll be at it again tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a special guest.